Now that I've beaten the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, let's rank the bosses from worst to best. Obviously, this video contains major spoilers, so stop watching right now if you don't want to see the bosses. You still here? Alright, let's get started with the worst of the bosses. This one goes to Muktorok of the Water Temple. This squadgy looking thing sure makes a mess of the battlefield, but it basically just has two attacks. It either fires a laser or a wave of sludge at you, and the rest of the time it just swims around as a shark or flops around in sludge form. The sludge is mostly just a nuisance in the fight and not worth your time washing away, and running around chasing after this thing isn't exactly the most fun mechanic. Sidon's ability feels kind of flat here too. It's good for being an annoying boss, but that's about it. Next up is the Scourge rising up from Death Mountain Crater, Moragia. This is more like a mini-boss as you simply take it out with 3 hits from Yunobo, but the idea of using a glider was cool and helped add a sense of urgency and chance to the fight. Next up is the very final boss, the Demon Dragon. It's definitely a cool moment, but much like Breath of the Wild's final boss, it serves to be more cinematic than a challenge. For being a big bad god of destruction, all the dragon can seem to do is screech and spit slow gloom fireballs that are easy to dodge. It's just an easy pattern of falling to the weak point and wailing on it until it's over with no real difficulty. For that, I can't consider it much of a boss, putting it toward the bottom of this list. Next is Phantom Ganon. This guy is a cool prelude to the real deal, but his attacks are mostly slow and boring for the first phase of the fight. The second phase adds a little something with him summoning gloom to spread all over the ground, creating a nice challenge to test your speed and accuracy with the bow. It's an endurance match with the gloom effect creating some difficulty, but you can't help but feel like the Phantom is going easy on you once you know the pattern. Next up is Kolgera of the Wind Temple. This fight is a lot of fun for the skydiving mechanic that was also used in the Demon Dragon fight, but it's also limited by it. Basically, this thing can only launch icicles and tornadoes at Link, giving you plenty of time to dive headfirst into the weak spot and shatter the circular portions of its body. Diving alone works, but you may have to use your bow, adding a little something to the fight. The stormy atmosphere adds to the feeling of the battle, and it just feels good to take this thing down. A step above Kolgera is Queen Gibdo of the Lightning Temple. This is a challenging fight that forces you to utilize Riju's lightning ability as rapidly as possible, ideally netting 2 strikes on it to stun it. Halfway through, it summons swarms of regular Gibdos to distract you, which forces you to pick lightning shots wisely while being mindful of the cooldown period. It's everything you want in a boss fight: big, loud, chaotic, and challenging. More fun than Queen Gibdo is Marbled Goma of the Fire Temple. This thing packs a mean punch if you stand still, and Yunobo's frantic dialogue adds to the tempo of the fight. You basically must run around the whole time and quickly dispense Yunobo in the legs of the creature while avoiding explosive rocks, then make a mad dash for the eye and start slashing away. Phase 2 introduces the mechanic of getting encircled by explosive rocks, once again adding a sense of franticness to the fight, and aiming Yunobo at the ceiling feels urgent as well. It's just a non-stop beatdown with explosions everywhere, making it my personal favorite of the standard temple bosses. And finally at the top of the list is Demon King Ganondorf. He feels like the final boss he always should have felt like, testing your Flurry Rush ability and actually providing challenge. At first he's pretty slow and not much different than Phantom Ganon, but when he goes full Demon King, his moveset gets a lot more exciting and very tough. He requires 2 consecutive perfect dodges to even damage, providing a lot of difficulty for the first time encounter. The fact that his blows take away whole hearts from your health is a nice touch. I really enjoyed this final battle. So there you have it, that's my quick ranking of the main bosses of Tears of the Kingdom. Do you agree with my list? Who was your favorite? Feel free to discuss in the comments, and thanks for watching.